Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, AK Reads 23. It's been a second. I don't know if you guys remember, but our last video was like 2 years ago. And I told myself I would consistently post, but things got hectic. And honestly, I wasn't even reading that much last year, so it was very hard to make book videos. But I am back on my reading game. We got out of that disgusting reading slump. And now we're back. Obviously you saw the title of today's video, but today is going to be a summary of all the books I've read because it is a little over half a year completed. I mean, we are starting July, so ideally I should have filmed this video in June, but clearly I can't do anything on time, so I'm filming it in July. And I'm going to be giving you guys a rundown of all of the books I've read this year so far. And before I start, make sure to check out all my socials, Anuva Kapoor 23 for all my main accounts, and then obviously you guys know me from AK Reads 23 on TikTok. So let's get into the video. Okay, starting very strong. The book I used to get out of my reading slump, which literally started last year and ended on the start of this year, was the one and only Fourth Wing. Genius book. I gave this, I think, around a 4.5 stars. I didn't actually log my exact rating on Goodreads, but it says 4 stars, and obviously you can't do half stars, but I do think this leans more towards a 4.5. This was the almost perfect book. Anyone who says this gets you out of a reading slump, they're so right. I started it on a plane, so I will say the first 100 pages not that good, but since I was forced to read them, I got through them very fast. But I do think the first 100 pages need to establish the world that this book is in, and from there it's absolutely amazing. It is a fantasy with a romance subplot, which everyone knows is my favorite genre. I post about it all the time, and it's just so good. I think it does end on a cliffhanger because I'm pretty sure the second I finished this book, I got in my car and I drove all the way to Target and I bought the second one. I also have the sprayed edges, which are, I think, a Target exclusive. I'm not sure, but this was so good. Literally recommend it to anyone. Definitely a very good book. And as much as I want to rush right into the second book, which I did, I started it almost amazingly, something came and halted my tracks. Something monumental. Something life-changing, something that took the entire internet, the entire world by storm. The one and only Rachel Reid's Heated Rivalry. Ugh, amazing. I watched the show, and obviously I was late on the show, so I watched the show in January. I remember this so vividly, the second week of January. I watched it. The second it was finished, there was like this pit in my stomach. Like I literally skipped school. Should I have skipped school? No. I thought I was sick. I wasn't sick. I literally was just like lonely because I was like, what do I do now that my freaking soul show is over? I do what any sane person does. I rewatched it again, and then I read the book. I read the book online. So this was a book my friend actually got me for my birthday because I read it online and I wanted to have the physical copy. I want to annotate it the way like book talkers do. Like here's an example. I really wanted to try it. I will say it doesn't compare to the show. Anyone who reads the book can tell you that. I did give this like a 3 stars because honestly, the first read was pretty disappointing. The little extra bit at the end is kind of what made the book for me. But I think just having watched the show made the visualization a lot easier. But you can clearly see that Jacob Tierney, Hudson, Connor, they took this book and they made it like the best thing ever. Obviously Rachel Reid too, but full props to her for creating these amazing characters. But I will say the writing was kind of bad at this point, but it's okay. Still a very good book. And if you're a fan of the show, you should read this. But I will say, if you haven't watched the show, watch the show first. Like, so good. Like, good. But one thing I want to say about this book is I actually read it 2 times this year. So it is 2 of the books on my Goodreads because obviously rereads count for your reading challenge. But I listened to it on audiobook, and I'm telling you, my rating went from 3 stars on Goodreads for the physical to literally 4 stars, like I think even 4.5 on Goodreads after listening to the audiobook, because the audiobook is so much better. It's like, I feel like details that I just, for some reason, did not soak in when I was reading the book, literally soaked in so much better when I listened to it on audiobook. Like, literally genius. Like, I will say, if you want the better experience, listen to the audiobook. I know people don't really like the voice actors, but I think the voice actors did fine, at least in the first book. Some of the other books, it's a little questionable, but I think it was super good. And obviously, right after finished Heated Rivalry, I switched over to The Long Game. I will say, I tried to listen to this on an audiobook the same way I did Heated Rivalry. It did not have the same spark for me, so I won't even acknowledge the audiobook part of it because I just think the voice actors were somehow worse, or maybe it was different actors. I didn't check. Not good. But the physical one, it was okay. I will say, I think it has a lot of mischaracterization of Shane and Ilya, which I think a lot of people online talk about. So that is something to worth noting. I also read this online, but I bought the book, of course. But I don't know. I'm really excited for the on-screen adaptation. Part of me wishes I didn't spoil this part of the story and just enjoyed it online, but I had a hockey-sized hole in my heart and I had to fill it. And I will say, it was a fun read. I think Rachel Reed has definitely improved as a writer, obviously, when you look at her later books in the series, but this one was not a hit for me. Gave it a 3 stars. Sorry. Now that we are off the Heated Rivalry tangent, even though I'm never really off, I wish you guys could see how much time I spent on AO3 just reading Heated Rivalry fanfiction this year. Oh, so bad. So bad. But I moved on to the Iron Flame. I will say, liked this one just a little bit less than the first. It was still so good. I just love the, I guess, school element of Fourth Wing, and I won't talk about this because obviously no spoilers, but this one was cool. I've talked to a bunch of people who read these books, and I haven't read the third one yet. I'm waiting for it to come out in the Target paperback because obviously my book collection, but I talked to a bunch of people and they said that they believe book 2 is kind of setting up for book 3, and I think that if this is setting up, it's the most interesting way to set up a story. And yeah, see, when I'm reading it, it's so good and I love it. I love every second of it, but it's kind of like at the end where I'm like, okay, I feel just a little bit dissatisfied, and I think that is kind of how I measure my book ratings, like how I feel at the end while also factoring how I feel at the start. Still gave this book 4 stars. Still such a good book. Like, I will never say it's bad. I'm actually a big fan of the series. I forget what it's called, the Empress series, but I don't know. Iron Flame, I mean, Fourth Wing was on my TBR for like years, so just being able to finish it, so proud of myself. Iron Flame, 4 stars on Goodreads. Okay, and now that we have finished Iron Flame and we left Heated Rivalry for a bit, came back to the fantasy of it all, I went right back to the Game Changers universe, aka the Heated Rivalry universe, and I read Common Goal. So a lot of people get mad at me because I'm like, okay, why are you reading all the Heated Rivalry books out of order? I'm sorry, I kind of just read whatever was appealing to me because, I don't know, the books just never really stuck. And I didn't feel like reading Scott and Kip's because I was like, I kind of like know the whole story and I know it's not everyone's favorite. So I was like, I kind of want to read books I haven't read before. So I didn't read Scott and Kip, and then I read Heated Rivalry, and then I jumped all the way to Common Goal, which it's book 4 in the series. I skipped Tough Guy. Oops. But anyways, Common Goal, didn't even rate it on Goodreads. It's not that good. I will say it is very smutty, and I know people like that for like an MM romance, but I don't know, I think it kind of missed the emotional intensity that Heated Rivalry did, but obviously Heated Rivalry is going to be the most intense. That's why it got its own show, but it was still a good read. I think maybe if I don't know, I was gonna say maybe if I read it in order I would like it better, but I don't see how that would change anything. It's like the exact same to me. After finishing that book, I went into another online book. Here I have Twisted Love by Anna Huang, And I will say this is like a book talk classic. So I think it taking me so long to get to it is quite a shocker. I read a bunch of the other Anna Huang books, like I read her Billionaire series, and I will say I wasn't the biggest fan of those. I think they're just a little too romancy for me. My favorite is like a romance subplot, just some like thing that like kind of causes intensity between characters that makes the romance restricted and makes them have to actually work for it. I guess that's why I was a big fan of Heated Rivalry, because they have that added pressure from the outside world. So not a spoiler, but you know what I'm talking about when you read it or watch it. But that is why I think this book kind of felt flat for me. It is one of the first romance book I've literally read in like 2 years. So I still did give it 3 stars, which is kind of a good, kind of a bad rating for me, because for me it's like smack in the center. So it's like, it's okay. It was fine. I did like the main characters, but towards the end, I just felt like it was so bad. Like, is that weird? I tried to read some of the other books in the series. I think the second book I wanted to read, but it just never worked out. Like, I'm literally like halfway through it. It's just way too predictable. In my opinion, the characters get together way too soon. My favorite books are like when the characters get towards at the end, or sometimes they like literally get together in book 3. Like, shout out the Cruel Prince trilogy. I mean, that's like literally my favorite book couple of all time. So I don't know. I think romance books just might not be it for me, but still, I think I've typically given romance books like under 3 stars, so I will say this was pretty good. Okay, then I have another online book for you. I read Garen Park by Nokita Knight. Sorry if I butchered her name, but Garen Park, this is kind of like Heated Rivalry if it was on like a dirt bike kind of course. If they were like dirt bike, I wouldn't want to use this word, but this is what people say online, like trailer trash kind of people. You'll see it when you read it. It's definitely a good book, and it's not a talked about book. I did a lot of researching to try and find a book that was similar to Heated Rivalry, because I literally had that hole in my heart. And I will say, it has the same emotional impact that the Heated Rivalry book has. Do you know what I'm saying? It could never meet the intensity that the show has. The characters are not as good as in the show and stuff like that. But you can't beat Connor and Hudson. They took something and they made it marvelous. If you like the Heated Rivalry book, I would recommend it to you. For me personally, I gave it a 2.5 stars. Just felt incomplete at the end. The start, really, really good. The end, fell flat. Then I left the little digital book landscape for a bit, and I started going on to audiobooks. Obviously, I'm giving these all in order. So I started reading audiobooks around this time. And I listened to One of Us is Lying. I forget who the author is, so One of Us is Lying. Listen to the audiobook. I will say the audiobook cast was pretty decent. Obviously, when it's an audiobook, they don't typically hire high schoolers, so you can tell it's an adult trying to be a high schooler. But still, I do think the voices were pretty good, and the storyline, so engaging. The writing, so engaging. I somehow already knew the plot twist / answer. I guess I probably got it spoiled for me a couple years ago, but it was just back of my mind the entire time that I just kind of, like, from the start of the book I knew the answer to the end of the book I knew the answer, but I wouldn't say it's obvious. I just think that I might have gotten it spoiled for me and I just subconsciously just remembered it. But yeah, it was super good. I will say I listened to it while I was doing a bunch of crafts, like the dazzling stuff. It was so much fun to listen to. I gave it a 4 stars. I probably was trying to give it like a 4.5 for an audiobook. Probably one of the best. And from One of Us is Lying, this took me onto my thriller audiobook kind of phase. Some of the only thriller books I've read were, oh my god. This is out of order. Let me fix this. But I started reading this. So One of Us is Lying was definitely good, and it brought me into the Natural series by Lynn Barnes. She writes so well. The way she describes things are so well, so creative, literally descriptions you've never heard before. And it just works. It doesn't feel overdone. It feels good. It feels natural. The Naturals. And yes, I think the story was pretty cool. I do think the main character is just a little bit, I don't know, the way her inner monologue is just a little bit annoying at times. And I will say the voice actors on these, not the best, but it was still a good story. I did not predict the ending. I did not. I literally just not predict the ending. So I do think this was a pretty good read. I gave it like 3 stars, 3.5 stars. And And I think I'm okay with that rating. I don't know if it would have been different if I read it on paper, but it was fine on audiobook. Okay, from The Naturals, I went straight into book 2 in the series, and that was Killer Instinct. I will say, this was a good book too. Now that like the characters are established and stuff like that, it is kind of more fun because there's more content in the book because we're not learning about all these characters. It was okay. I will say one of the way more predictable endings compared to book 1, predicted it way faster, but that doesn't mean it was like not pleasant. Like, it was still a very nice listen. I gave it 4 stars again, and no, I gave it 3 stars again. Still very fun, very good. The main character got a little less annoying, I'll say, her inner monologue, but it was still a very interesting book. Okay, the next book I read, this one's a fun one because I read it in school. I know, I actually read my English book. This was the first English book I've read all year. Never read any of them in my class, but this was the 4th book of the unit, and I was like, you know what? I want to read this book because we had a bunch of options and I like 5 books. I chose this one, and I was like, I want to read this. This is a good book. So I read Gold Diggers by Sanjana Sathian. Oh my god, props to all my brown outers out there. Obviously, I'm a brown girl, so I just had to represent. It is such a good book. Like, I'm sorry, the first half of this book is the most trippiest, insane thing ever. It is, in my opinion, some of the best media representation of what it is like to be a brown immigrant teen in America. It is so good. I think it's so accurate. The author knew exactly what she was writing about, and I can attest it's so accurate. And I think even if you don't relate to the book in terms of being an Indian American born child, you still can read it simply because it's a good story. Probably the book I recommend most on this list. Isn't my highest rated, but still recommend it the most on my list because you'll never read a book like this. I gave it 4 stars, and I think that's a solid rating because the ending wasn't my favorite. I felt like it was a very good close off to the book, and it dealt with some deeper topics, but I still think it was so good. Like, this is the one book where a bad ending did not make me hate it. Okay, we are back to our physical books. The next book, which I want to literally be the star of the show for this video, Happy Place. I take very good care of my books. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, let's take a look at this book. Perfect edges, perfect sprays, like nothing is messed up, no white spots, no folding, no creases. This book, on the other hand, you can't even see it, but it's literally like water damage. It's on the verge of literally dying. It's sunburnt, like, I don't know, sun bleached is the term, because I've genuinely been bringing this book around for the past 2 to 3 years because I wanted to read this book so bad. It's a summer book. I want to read it every summer. Every summer I drag this with me everywhere. Literally have never read it. I read it in a little over a week. I was actively forcing myself to read it on the beach, in the car rides. Wherever I was going, I was forcing myself to read this, and I will say it was not a painful experience. So good. Literally gave it 4.5 stars. I will say this is close to perfect. Obviously, what makes me give a book 5 stars is something just like hits me in the guts. And I'm like, okay, this is amazing. This is literally the best book I've ever read. Not many books give me that punch gut, so like, I don't know. But this was like the closest thing. Emily Henry, you did your big one with this. I get why everyone and their mom literally loves Happy Place by Emily Henry because it's genius. So please get this for yourself. Such a good book. Okay, now we are coming to the end of this video with my last and final book, and we're ending it off the way this year has started for me and everyone around me. We're ending it with a book in the Game Changer series. It was an audiobook, and it was Role Model by Rachel Reed. This was, in my opinion, the best written book in the series. Do I think they compare to Shin and Ilya on my screen? No, but nothing will compare. So don't even acknowledge that, but still, probably the best one. It was so good. Oh my god, I think everyone agrees that Role Model is probably one of the best books in the series. I still have yet to read or listen to Tough Guy. I tried to read it. I tried to find an audiobook for it, but I don't know. I just wasn't able to. So the Tough Guy, I want to read that. But I will say Role Model is so good. The characters are adorable. Okay, that was the end of my 14 books I read or listened to this year. It was so much fun. I'm so happy to be back into reading. Obviously, my reading goal is 20, so I'm very close, but I want to go over. I want to hit 25 because I just want to. I had a goal one year that was to read 100. I never ended up finishing it, but I want to emit that same energy. Okay guys, that is the end of my video. Long time no see. I will be posting a lot more regularly. Pinky swear, hold me to it. Spam my comments if I don't, because I will. You just gotta tell me once. You gotta tell me once and I'll be here. So I had so much fun filming this video, talking about all my book reads. Honestly, reading and then getting to make a video or a TikTok about it, it's just so worth it to me. And that is part of the reason I made an active effort to start reading again, is because I just miss posting and I didn't want to post if I wasn't reading. So now I'm back. It's been a good 6 months getting back into it and I can't wait to post some more. If you guys want any other content, please let me know. If you stuck around to the end, thank you so much. I know I'm a small creator, so just anyone who gives me enough effort, that is so sweet. And even if you just watch like the first 5 minutes, that still means the world to me because I'm very happy to be part of this community. So here are my socials. Follow me anywhere. I am all over the internet, unfortunately. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe or maybe just come back to the next one if you want to.